right, so you know that today we're going to be conducting a multi-pass 24-hour recall, and this is for a nutritional assessment at Kennesaw State University, but your answers will be only viewed by me and the professor. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Okay. So let's start with a little bit of information. So your name is Lauren.
Yes.
Okay. Is that L-O-R-E-N?
Correct.
Okay. Today's date is June 15th. And how tall are you about?
5'9".
5'9". Okay. All right. And you are how old?
24.
4 years old.
I'll be 25 in a couple weeks.
Okay, great. And today is Sunday. And if you know off the top of your head, how much do you weigh right now?
155-ish.
Great. And then what would you say your activity level is?
I teach dance for about 6 hours every week, and try to go walking as much as possible. Play pickleball every once in a while.
Okay.
But no regular heavy exercise or anything right now.
Okay. So about moderate. You don't go to the gym or go on runs or anything specific that week. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then, do you take any supplements on a regular basis?
I do vitamin C and D and B12 every once in a while.
Okay.
I'm not on a great routine with it right now.
Gotcha. Well, so for the 24-hour recall itself, I'm going to have you tell me everything that you had to eat and drink yesterday. And by yesterday, I mean we're going to go from midnight of essentially 2 days ago until midnight yesterday, last night exactly. And so in this recall, you're going to include everything that you had to eat and drink. That's at home, away from home, including snacks, tea, coffee, sweets, soft drinks, and alcohol. And we'll just start first by making a quick list. And then I'm going to ask you about the foods and drinks in a little bit more detail, including amounts. So I have some cups and spoons and bowls and things here for you to show me some different amounts once we get into the more detailed pass of the foods. And it might help you to remember what you ate by thinking about what you were doing, who you were with. So if you want to kind of think back on your day, where you were, what you did, what the weather was like, anything that'll kind of help you remember what you ate. So let's just start with a quick list. So like I said, starting from midnight the night before, so if you went to bed at 2 in the morning, you would want to include any late night snacks that you had starting at midnight. And then we'll just go throughout the day.
Okay. I definitely didn't eat anything until I got up Saturday morning.
Okay.
And I met my friend who was in town for a wedding. We went to Starbucks for breakfast.
Okay.
And I ate the egg pesto mozzarella breakfast sandwich. And then I drank a grande iced decaf latte with oat milk. And that was it for breakfast.
Okay. And then what else did you have?
And then for lunch, I had a pack of brown rice with some Trader Joe's orange chicken. And I cooked that up with some carrots and a fried egg. And I had some kale and sriracha on it. And then watermelon for dessert.
Great. And so that was lunch.
That was lunch.
What did you eat after that?
I don't think I had any snacks yesterday because we were on the road right after lunch. And then I wasn't feeling great around dinner time. So we went to a restaurant, but I didn't eat anything.
Okay.
I had some water definitely throughout the day.
Great.
And then I had a bowl of cereal last night. Like I said, I wasn't feeling great, so I didn't eat anything at dinner, but before bed I had a bowl of cereal.
Okay. Was there anything else that you had throughout the day? All right. So if you can't think of anything else off the top of your head that you had to eat or drink, There are some foods that people often forget. So, in addition to what you've already told me, did you have any coffee, tea, soft drinks, or milk?
Not in addition to what I told you.
Okay,
Just the coffee at breakfast.
gotcha. No alcoholic drinks? Okay. And then, did you have any biscuits, cakes, sweets, chocolate bars, or other confectionery, like little desserts or a little bite of anything that you might have forgotten? Okay.
No.
What about chips, peanuts, or other snacks?
Yesterday was an odd day. I feel like normally I do snack a lot,
But no
but
snacks
I
yesterday.
was super busy yesterday on the road several different times, so I wasn't at home to snack
Gotcha.
very much.
And then, were there any sauces, dressings, or added salt and sugar? in any of the foods?
I did have a caramel drizzle on my latte, which actually I didn't order that way, but that's what they did.
Okay, but you did drink
Yes.
the caramel drizzle, okay.
Yeah. And then, like I said, the sriracha on my bowl at lunch. And that would be it.
And any nutritional supplements? I know you said that you take vitamin C, D, and B12 sometimes, but you didn't in the last 24 hours.
No, I did the day before, but not
Okay.
yesterday.
All right, so now we're gonna do more of a detailed record. So I'm gonna go through the list that you've just given me, and I'm gonna ask you in detail about each item of food and drink. And if while we're talking you remember anything else that you had, like it jogs your memory, you can feel free to interrupt me and I'll add it to the list. So was the egg pesto mozzarella breakfast sandwich the first thing that you had yesterday to eat?
Yes.
So around what time was it that you consumed that?
Shortly after 9 o'clock.
Okay,
We met at 9, so
And that's
probably
9.
9:15 a.m.
9:15 a.m. Okay. A.m. All right. Perfect. And you would consider that breakfast?
Yes.
Okay, great. And you had that at Starbucks, you said?
Mhm.
And it was from Starbucks?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so the egg pesto mozzarella breakfast sandwich, what all comes on that? Obviously egg, I would assume like a pesto sauce. Is it egg whites or is it mixed egg?
I think it's mixed.
Mixed egg, okay.
It's more yellow.
Pesto sauce, and then is it just like a slab of mozzarella on
I think it's like shredded,
there? Shredded, okay.
melted on. And the bread that it's on, I think also has mozzarella on the top.
Okay,
That might be where, I don't know. I haven't deconstructed it, but
gotcha. And
I
then
know there's cheesiness on the top.
if you had to guess what type of bread it is that they serve it on?
I think they call it a ciabatta roll
Okay. All right.
or something similar.
And so for brand, we'll say Starbucks. And around how big would you say this sandwich was? So looking at some of our utensils here, was it bigger than the circumference of this bowl?
I'd say it was very close to that.
Close
it was
to
a
the
square shape.
Okay, so around this circumference. And about how tall was the sandwich?
Probably about 2/3 the height of that.
Okay, 2/3. Okay, great. Okay. And did you eat the whole thing, or did you have any left over?
I ate the whole thing.
Okay, great. And were there any added sauces like mayonnaise or oil, anything else on it? Okay. So then you had a grande iced decaf latte with oat milk and caramel drizzle.
Mhm.
So was that at the same time around 9:15 a.m.?
Yes.
Okay. And that was also at Starbucks. Okay. So you said, let's see. Was that hot or ice that you had?
Iced.
Iced, okay. So that would just be a double shot of espresso and oat milk for the rest of the cup?
Yes.
Okay. And so it's Starbucks brand. The amount served, you said it was a grande, which I believe is 16 ounces. Is that right? So that would be probably about this size.
I would say so.
This size, okay. So we'll say 16 ounces. And did you drink the whole thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Over the course of like an hour.
Right, okay. So we will take into account that the ice probably makes less liquid. So although it was a 16 ounce cup, we will say maybe not the whole thing was full. So we'll say roughly 10 to 12 ounces
Sounds good.
of coffee. Okay. But you drank the whole thing that was in the cup. Okay. All right, great. And that was everything for breakfast.
Correct.
Okay. So did you eat anything between breakfast and your next meal?
I did not.
Okay. So your next meal was brown rice, Trader Joe's orange chicken, carrots, fried egg, kale, and sriracha. Around what time did you consume?
I think around noon.
Around noon. Okay. And you consider this lunch?
Yes.
Okay. And did you eat this at home or were you at a restaurant?
At home.
All right. So the brown rice, that was coming out of a packet, you said. Was that frozen or was it?
It was frozen.
Frozen, okay. And so to prepare it, did you microwave it or did you put it on the stove?
In the microwave.
Frozen?
And then on the stove.
Gotcha.
When
And
I
did
added the other ingredients.
Okay. Did you add any oil or sauces to it?
No.
Okay. And the Trader Joe's orange chicken, was that frozen as well?
It was frozen, but it had been cooked the night before.
Okay.
So reheated in the pan with the rice
Gotcha.
the next day.
And then the carrots, were those whole carrots, mini carrots, sliced carrots?
Shredded carrots.
Shredded carrots, okay. And then you fried an egg. What oil did you fry the egg in?
I just used avocado oil spray in the pan.
And
So-
you used the whole egg, not just the egg whites or just the yolk?
The whole egg.
Okay. Great. And then, was the kale from a packaged salad bag or was it fresh?
It was from a salad bag, but we had cooked it in the stove to make it crispy,
Gotcha.
and it was left over from the night before as well. So kind of just threw it all, cooked the egg in the pan, heated up the rice in the microwave, and then put everything else
Gotcha.
in the pan and mixed it up.
And then, did you just drizzle sriracha over the top of it?
Yes. And I put a little bit of salt as well, because I realized the rice had no seasoning.
Gotcha.
Oh, and I put some soyaki sauce.
Okay.
It's a Trader Joe's, I think, soy and teriyaki. So I
Sounds
drizzled that and a little bit of salt.
Okay. And so for brand, we'll say, so the brown rice, was that Trader Joe's brand as well?
It was.
And then the orange chicken was Trader Joe's. Carrots, we'll just assume. Was it sriracha brand? Sriracha?
Yes.
Okay. And did you just buy the carrots, fried egg, and kale at the grocery store?
Yes.
Alright, great. So now we're going to talk about the portion sizes. And let's start with the brown rice. So let's say maybe these could be helpful. We have a couple of bowls here that might be helpful. Out of any of these, around how much brown rice do you think you consumed?
I would say probably close to this much.
Okay. And was it, would you say, full to the top?
It's hard to say because it was mixed in with everything, and my husband and I split the pack. So I would say probably the whole pack would fit tucked into this bowl.
And you ate about half.
And I ate about half of that.
Okay, so half of a medium-sized bowl. Okay. Great. And then for the orange chicken, same thing. Maybe some of these cups or these smaller bowls, or even the larger. How much chicken would you say you consumed?
It was probably enough to fit this smaller bowl.
Okay.
Because it was leftovers. And like I said, divided in half between me and my husband.
Okay. So it's probably about 4 ounces. All right. And let's see. How big of a serving did you have of the shredded carrots? Let's see. We have some tablespoons. Was it just a sprinkle?
We had a good bit of it left over. Yeah, I would say probably this much of shredded carrots.
Okay, so
that's a third cup.
Third cup, okay. And did you eat all of that, or was that split between the two of you?
I would say I ate about a third of a cup,
okay.
And he did as well. That was about half.
All right. And it was just one fried egg. So
for each of us.
For each of you. Okay.
Yes.
And then how big of a serving would you say you ate of the kale?
Probably close to this bowl as well.
Okay.
And it was baked with olive oil.
Okay.
And salt.
Thank you for that.
Maybe garlic too.
So I'm going to go back and add that in to this meal description. So we will say with olive oil, salt, and garlic. Great. All right. Now, last thing is the sriracha. So I'm assuming you probably did a drizzle, but if you could estimate using these, around how much would you say?
A tablespoon or maybe a little bit more.
Okay.
I didn't put it over the entire thing.
Great. And did you eat your entire serving?
I did.
Okay, so no leftovers.
No leftovers.
All right, so the next thing was the watermelon that you had for dessert.
Yes.
Did you eat this right after you finished your meal?
I did.
Okay, so that would have been maybe around 12:30 if your meal was at 12.
Sounds about right.
And that's 12:30 p.m. All right, and you ate that at home?
Yes.
Great. So was the watermelon in cubes? Was it in scoops, cubes? And around how big were the cubes, would you say?
They're pretty big, probably close to a quarter cup.
Quarter cup, okay. Great. And did you put anything on the watermelon?
Okay. I did not.
Let's see. And I'm assuming you got this at the grocery store?
Correct.
All right. And if you had to estimate using one of these bowls, how much would you say you consumed?
I ate it out of the big bowl, so I'm trying to remember, like, about how many pieces I ate, but maybe And they were big pieces, maybe enough to fill this glass, like more than this, but less than this bowl.
Okay.
So
So if it was in this bowl, about how full would you say the bowl would have been?
probably 2/3 to
Okay.
3/4. I ate probably about 8 pieces of that, close to a 1/4 cup size.
Great. And you consumed everything that you had in your bowl, or did you have some left over? Of the, like, 2/3 of this bowl.
I ate all of it.
Okay.
It was from a larger bowl that had the whole watermelon, and I was eating straight out of that bowl, but
And then you said that you had some water as well.
yes.
Was this at the time of that meal, or was it after?
I had some at the time of the meal.
And so you
I think I
consumed
had
that.
a cup before that, before the meal as well.
Okay.
As I was cooking, I was standing there and I drank probably a glass this size.
Great. Okay. So we'll say 16 ounces. And this was at home that you were consuming water.
Yes.
Okay. And was it plain water, or did you add anything to it?
Just plain water.
Plain water. And was there any ice in it?
No.
Alright.
It was from the refrigerator,
From the refrigerator.
so it was cold.
Was it tap water?
It was filtered
Okay, like from a
in a
Brita.
Brita.
Okay.
You just keep it cold in the fridge.
Gotcha. And so you said you consumed some before the meal, so that would have been around what time?
11:45.
Okay.
Just before 12.
And you said it was about the size of this cup,
Yes.
and you drank the whole thing?
Yes.
So about 16 ounces.
Yeah, I was thirsty after all the coffee and stuff.
All the cheese. Alright, and then you had another cup of water around the same time of your meal.
Part of a cup, yeah.
Part of a cup. Okay, and that was at home and plain, no ice?
Correct.
And it was the tap water filtered from your Brita. And how much would you say? Some of these smaller cups, or you can even estimate, you know, based off of a
Maybe about half of
half.
that cup.
Alright. And you drank the whole thing? Well, half of the whole one.
All of the half.
Yes. Alright. So, did you have anything in between the bowl of cereal and your lunch? Any snacks? Any little things that you can remember?
Definitely no snacks. I did go to a restaurant with our family and I drank some water.
So around what time would that have been?
4:15.
Okay.
I just was not hungry. I think I ate a bite of a hush puppy
Okay.
and then decided I did not want to eat anymore.
So
So I chewed some gum
Gotcha.
after that. But
Would-
that was it.
Would you have consumed the hush puppy around 4:15 as well?
Yes.
And that was also at the restaurant?
Correct.
And what was the restaurant called?
The Catfish Kitchen.
Okay. And let's see. So, how much? Let's see. Was that water also plain, or did it have anything added?
It was ice water.
Ice water? Any lemon or sugar or anything else added?
I did not add anything to it, no.
Iced water. And we'll just say that was tap water from the restaurant. And about how much did you drink?
I just sipped on it, probably about
Okay.
this much.
And then you said you had a bite of a hush puppy as well.
Yes.
Around how big were the hush puppies, would you say?
Maybe a little smaller than this quarter cup.
Okay.
The one I ate was pretty small.
And did the hush puppies have anything on them, or were they just plain?
They were plain.
And let's see, so about half. And you just had one bite, so about half of that serving size.
Yeah, maybe 2 bites.
Okay.
Just not the whole thing.
Okay. So we'll say 2 bites of 1/4 hush puppy. So would you say there was about 1 bite left?
Yes.
Okay. And would you say that bite left was maybe the size of a tablespoon, a little smaller?
It was smaller. I don't know. Maybe a little smaller than this half tablespoon.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
And that's all
Around
that
there.
was left.
Yes.
Okay. So did you eat anything else at the restaurant?
No.
All right. So that was at 4:15 p.m. So then, did you eat anything between the restaurant and the bowl of cereal that you had later?
No.
Okay. So
I just chewed gum.
gum. Okay.
I don't know if that's.
Yeah, we'll add that. So gum. You just had 1 piece,
I believe so.
and this was around 4:30.
Yes.
Okay. And what brand was the gum?
Trident.
Trident. And what flavor?
Peppermint.
Great. And did you eat the whole stick? I mean, you didn't swallow it,
Yes.
obviously, but okay. 1 stick.
I chewed the whole stick.
Consume serving. Okay, great. So, after you chewed the gum, did you have anything before you ate your bowl of cereal?
I may have had some water. Just a sip of water.
Okay.
At some point on the drive home, but nothing else comes to mind.
Great. So, what time did you consume your bowl of cereal?
Let me think. Around 7:45 or 8.
And that's PM.
Correct.
So, would you consider this dinner?
Yes.
Okay. And where did you eat your bowl of cereal?
At my apartment.
Okay. And what kind of cereal was it?
It was Special K with berries and yogurt, I think.
Okay.
And I had oat milk in the cereal.
Great. So, Special K brand. Do you know what brand the oat milk was?
Oatly.
Great. And using the bowls here, around what size was the bowl?
This size.
What size? And how full was it?
It was pretty full.
So, could you indicate to me where the cereal went to around?
My bowl is actually a little bit taller than this, so I would say this whole bowl was probably filled with cereal.
Okay. And then of that, how much was filled with milk?
Probably most of it, 3/4 or a little bit more.
Great. And did you eat the whole bowl?
Yes.
Great. So after you ate the bowl of cereal, did you eat anything else?
No.
Okay. Okay, so I just want to make sure that I have everything, and I want you to try and remember anything else that you had to eat or drink that you might not have remembered. So anything that you had maybe while you were preparing a meal or waiting to eat. So
The only thing I could think is I probably drank more water
okay,
because I had a water bottle with me throughout the whole day. So I'm sure throughout the day I took sips.
but none that you can remember specifically. Okay.
No.
All right. And so let's just go through what we have. So the first thing was around 9:15 a.m. You went to Starbucks and you had an egg pesto mozzarella breakfast sandwich. It had mixed egg, pesto sauce, shredded mozzarella, cheese on the bread as well, and it was a ciabatta roll. You had about 2/3 of a small serving bowl size sandwich, and you consumed the whole thing. So with that, you had a grande iced decaf latte with oat milk and caramel drizzle. That was also around 9:15 a.m. at Starbucks. It was iced, so it was a double shot of espresso with oat milk. It was from Starbucks, and it was roughly 16 ounces, although it was iced, so probably 10 to 12 ounces of coffee, and you consumed the whole thing. Does that sound correct?
Yes.
And in between this meal and your brown rice Trader Joe's orange chicken, is there anything you can remember consuming in between?
No.
Okay, so the next thing you had was a brown rice Trader Joe's orange chicken bowl with carrots, fried egg, kale, and sriracha. This was around noon at home. It had frozen brown rice, microwaved, reheated frozen orange chicken, shredded carrots, avocado spray with the fried egg is how you cooked it. A packaged salad bag kale, cooked on the stove to be crispy with olive oil, salt, and garlic, and sriracha drizzle with salt and soyaki sauce. You had about half of a medium-sized serving bowl of brown rice, small bowl of orange chicken, 1/3 cup of shredded carrots, 1 fried egg, small bowl of kale, and a tablespoon of sriracha, and you consumed the whole thing.
Yes.
Great. And then for dessert, you had some watermelon. It was about 2/3 of a medium-sized serving bowl, or 8 pieces of the 1/4 cup size pieces of watermelon.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And you consumed the entire thing. With that, you also had some water before, plain water, no ice. It was from your Brita filter. It was about 16 ounces. And so the next thing that we have recorded time-wise is your couple bites of Hush Puppy at the Catfish Kitchen. They were plain Hush Puppies. You had about 2 bites and had about 1 bite left. And with that, you also had some ice water. Does that sound correct?
Yes.
Okay. And at the restaurant, you also had a stick of gum. This was at about 4:30. It was Trident peppermint gum. You had 1 stick. And the next thing I have is a bowl of cereal. So between that Hush Puppy, is there anything else you can remember between those 2 events?
No, there was nothing.
Just maybe some water. So the next thing you had was a bowl of cereal at home. It was Special K with berries and yogurt and oat milk. It was Oatly oat milk and Special K brand cereal. You had about a medium serving size bowl full of cereal filled 3/4 of the way with milk, and you ate the whole thing. Does that sound right?
Yes.
And then after that, you didn't eat anything for the rest of the day before you went to sleep?
No.
Okay. So I believe that is everything that we have for our list today. Thank you for participating in our 24-hour food recall.
You're welcome.